Deception in Politics, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on the forces shaping our world from the shadows. This is where influence becomes a weapon, where corruption hides behind polished speech, and where the truth is often the first casualty. From chilling true crime cases to calculated political manipulation, we go beyond the headlines to expose the strategies, uncover the cover-ups, and connect the dots others refuse to see. Because behind every scandal, every secret deal, and every shocking revelation, there's always a trail of power, money, and deception. Our mission is simple: follow the money, question the narrative, and reveal the truths they hoped would stay buried. This podcast is dedicated to fearless conversations, bold investigation, and asking the questions others won't. If you're ready to challenge what you've been told and see the world through a sharper lens, you're in the right place. This is Power, Deception, and Politics. Let's begin. In the quiet, tree-lined streets of La Salle, Ontario, a sleepy suburb just outside Windsor, where families tuck in for the night without a second thought to danger, the evening of March 3, 2026, shattered into chaos. Shortly before 9:30 p.m., emergency responders raced to the 2400 block of Todd Lane, drawn by frantic reports of a stabbing. There, in the dim glow of porch lights, they found 45-year-old Nancy Grewal, a vibrant social media influencer and dedicated personal support worker, crumpled and bleeding from multiple wounds. Paramedics from Essex Windsor EMS rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. Grewal, known for her fiery online takedowns of extremism and her unapologetic Punjabi pride, succumbed to her injuries, her body reportedly pierced up to 18 times in a frenzied attack. This wasn't just a random act of violence. As La Salle Police Chief Michael Pierce would later declare, it was an intentional act against her, a targeted hit that reeked of premeditation and deep-seated grudge. The scene was sealed off, yellow tape fluttering like grim ribbons in the night breeze as investigators combed for clues. But to understand how this ordinary woman became a martyr in a web of international intrigue, ideological fervor, and unchecked threats, we must rewind the clock, step by step, tracing the path that led to her doorstep of doom. Nancy Grewal's story begins far from the Canadian suburbs, rooted in the rich soil of Punjab, India. Born into a Sikh family, she emigrated to Canada, settling in Windsor where she built a life as a personal support worker (PSW), caring for the vulnerable in their homes, a job that demanded compassion, resilience, and often solitude. By day, she navigated the intimate worlds of her clients, administering aid with a gentle touch. But online, Grewal transformed into a digital warrior. With over 100,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, she crafted content that blended lifestyle tips, cultural commentary, and sharp political jabs. Her handle @RealNancyGrewal became a beacon for those disillusioned with separatist movements, particularly the Khalistan cause, a Sikh separatist ideology advocating for an independent homeland in Punjab, which has simmered in diaspora communities since the 1980s. Grewal didn't mince words. She called out what she saw as hypocrisy, violence, and exploitation within Khalistani circles, naming names and exposing alleged wrongdoings at local gurdwaras, Sikh temples, and beyond. Her videos were raw, passionate rants delivered in Punjabi and English, decrying how the movement had devolved from a quest for justice into a breeding ground for extremism. "I'm not afraid," she'd say, her eyes flashing with defiance even as shadows loomed. The seeds of conflict were planted long before Grewal's voice echoed online. The Khalistan movement traces its origins to post-independence India, fueled by grievances over Sikh rights, economic disparities, and the traumatic 1984 Operation Blue Star, where Indian forces stormed the Golden Temple to flush out militants, resulting in hundreds of deaths. This sparked global outrage among Sikhs, leading to the assassination of Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and subsequent anti-Sikh riots. In Canada, home to one of the largest Sikh diasporas, the movement found fertile ground. But it also birthed terror. The 1985 bombing of Air India Flight 182, orchestrated by Khalistani extremists, killed 329 people, mostly Canadian citizens, in the deadliest aviation attack before 9/11. Talwinder Singh Parmar, a Canadian-based militant, was fingered as the mastermind in inquiries that cost millions, yet justice felt incomplete. Decades later, tensions resurfaced with the 2023 killing of Hardeep Singh Najjar, a Khalistani activist in British Columbia, which strained Canada-India relations amid allegations of Indian involvement denied by New Delhi. Grewal waded into these waters fearlessly, criticizing not just the movement's violent fringes, but also what she perceived as Canadian leniency toward extremism. Her posts highlighted signage at gurdwaras promoting separatist ideals, alleged gang ties, and the glorification of figures linked to violence. To her supporters, she was a truth-teller; to detractors, a traitor stirring the pot. As Grewal's online presence grew, so did the backlash. By late 2025, the threats began rolling in, anonymous messages laced with venom, promising retribution for saying bad things about religion in Khalistan. She documented around 40 death threats, some explicit, others veiled warnings to stay silent. In a chilling escalation on November 8, 2025, her Windsor home was targeted in an arson attack. Security footage captured a hooded figure dousing her porch with gasoline and igniting it, flames licking at the door as Grewal and her family escaped unharmed but terrified. She linked it directly to her activism, claiming the perpetrator was tied to Khalistani sympathizers. Grewal didn't back down; instead, she went public, reporting the incidents to Windsor police and even speaking to CBC News just days before her death in late February 2026. "I feel unsafe in Canada," she confessed in the interview, her voice steady but edged with fear. She urged authorities to investigate the threats seriously, pointing to a broader pattern of intimidation against critics. Friends and family echoed her concerns, noting an old dispute that had festered online into real-world peril. Yet, despite the reports, no arrests followed the arson, leaving Grewal exposed in a system critics argue is overburdened and sometimes slow to connect dots between online hate and offline harm. The fatal night unfolded with brutal efficiency. Grewal was on shift as a PSW, alone at a client's home on Todd Lane, a routine visit turned deadly ambush. Around 9:30 p.m., the attack came swift and savage, multiple stab wounds, inflicted with a ferocity that suggested personal rage. Was the assailant lying in wait, familiar with her schedule? Family members believe so, with her sister Alisha insisting it was pre-planned murder tied to her social media exposés. Her mother, Shinderpal Kaur, speaking from Jalandhar, India, claimed multiple perpetrators were involved, including reconnaissance on Grewal's routines and named suspects linked to a Windsor Gurdwara. "Everyone knows who did it, but fear keeps mouths shut," she lamented. As first responders battled to save her, the suburb awoke to sirens and speculation. By morning, police had classified it as homicide, deploying an OPP K9 unit early on and later enlisting full OPP assistance in the probe. No suspects named, no arrests announced as of March 8, 2026, but the digital trail burned hot. In the hours following Grewal's death, the online world she once commanded erupted. Social media accounts promoting Khalistani extremism brazenly claimed responsibility, posting in Punjabi that she was eliminated for her criticisms, with warnings to others. "This is what happens to those who speak against us." One account, tied to alleged gang elements like the Bishnoi group, known for cross-border feuds, boasted of the deed. Conflicting claims surfaced, some from purported insiders, others dismissed as hoaxes, but police urged caution, stating they were reviewing all leads without confirming motives to protect the investigation. The Indo-Canadian community reeled, with leaders calling for calm amid fears of reprisals. Media frenzy followed. CBC, CTV, Windsor Star, and international outlets like Times of India and People magazine dissected the case, highlighting Grewal's fears and the broader chill on free speech. Even Canadian MP Juanita Nathan invoked her name in an International Women's Day message on March 8, 2026, decrying the tragic killing and expressing deep trouble over the incident. X, formerly Twitter, buzzed with tributes and accusations, from users like @WallyRuch praising her bravery against the violent and inhumane Khalistan movement, to conspiracy theories linking Indian intelligence or rival gangs. Her family, devastated, prepared to travel for her last rites, vowing to seek justice while grappling with the void. This tragedy doesn't exist in isolation. It's a thread in a larger tapestry of diaspora conflicts spilling into Canadian soil. The Khalistan movement, while representing legitimate historical pains for many Sikhs, has fractured into peaceful advocacy and radical fringes. In Canada, where freedom of expression is sacrosanct, the line between protest and peril blurs. Critics point to historical lapses, like the delayed response to Air India warnings, as patterns of underestimating threats from extremist elements. Grewal's case echoes others: the unsolved threats against journalists, the 2023 Najar assassination, and ongoing intel alerts about escalating Khalistani violence amid thawing Canada-India ties. Unions representing PSWs now demand better protections, noting Grewal was working alone, vulnerable in an underfunded sector. Yet, amid the finger-pointing, the core question lingers. How did a woman's words provoke such lethal fury, and why weren't the red flags enough to save her? As the investigation grinds on, with surveillance footage under scrutiny, leads chased, and the OPP's resources bolstering local efforts, the quest for answers intensifies. Grewal's legacy endures in her videos, a savage reminder that in the digital age, speaking truth can cost everything. Her story is a thriller unfolding in real time, a lone voice against a shadowy network, a suburban stabbing with global ripples. Will justice prevail, or will fear silence more critics? In LaSalle's quiet nights, the shadows whisper warnings. Extremism unchecked is a blade waiting to fall. Power's sexy, deception's deadly, and politics, always messy. High stakes, higher lies, and corruption. Power isn't taken, it's bought. Politics has never been so dirty, and baby, we're just getting started. Until the next scandal, XOXO. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Power, Deception, and Politics. If today's conversation showed us anything, it's that the truth is rarely simple, and the real story is often hidden beneath layers of influence, power, and carefully crafted narratives. But the more we question, the more we uncover. Remember, follow the money, question the narrative, and never stop asking who benefits. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share it with someone who believes in truth over spin, and leave us a review so more people can discover the conversations that matter. This is Power, Deception, and Politics, where fearless storytelling and bold conversations take center stage. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep questioning. This is Power, Deception, and Politics,